Great. It shows us live on YouTube and Facebook. I do want to check and make sure that that is accurate.
There we go.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our network welcome. This is our opportunity to get to know some of our newer partners to the Chamber from a variety of interests. They come from different sectors with different experiences and different backgrounds. And so we'd love to give you a chance to get to meet them individually. I'm your host, Juliette Abdel, the Chamber President and CEO for the Westminster Chamber of Commerce. And I want to welcome you. If it is your very first time to our page, please be sure that you hit the like button and that you are following the page. Facebook has a nice algorithm, and we want to make sure that when we go live or post content that you see it immediately. So make sure that you're following us and that the default setting on that is to notify you immediately. Of course, if you're not already following us on all of our social media platforms, we are introducing you to all of them right now. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at Westy Chamber. You can also find us on LinkedIn, Westminster Chamber of Commerce. And for any of your friends that may not be Facebook savvy, we stream this at the very same time on our YouTube channel. That's Westminster Chamber of Commerce. Our website for reference is westminsterchamber.biz, where you can find all of our programs, events, resources, news, and so much more. We encourage you to go there directly. And this website link is actually included for you in the comment section of this broadcast. Now, for those of you that are coming back to us, welcome back. And thank you so much for watching all of our live broadcasts since last March. It doesn't feel like it's been well over a year, but it has been. And I just want to take that time to thank you and to continue to encourage you to hit the share button on this video so others in your network can see that we're live, can drop what they're doing and come on over and join us and be a part of this conversation and discussion. Of course, I already see Parker Brown on here giving us a nice good morning message. Good morning to you, Parker. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick jab. I need to have either breakfast or lunch over at Carrabba. So if you can manage to open up before the evening time hour, you will see more of me. But I just want you to know this because I've tried to come to you during lunch and I've not been able to. So our past board chairman is Brian Dice. Brian is giving us a nice good morning message as well. And thank you so much for hopping onto our broadcast, Brian, and being a part of it. Now, I've shown you a couple of examples. Hopefully you have a profile picture you're super proud of and can share any comments along the way with us. You can give us good morning remarks. You can comment about the aesthetics of any of our rooms, how we look, anything that we say, you can feel free to even pick on us for. But of course, we love the engagement. So drop in comments, questions that you have, give us likes or hearts, avoid those angry emojis, although I've gotten that before, but avoid them because we tend to take that personally. So I also see our past board chair, Brian Head. Thank you and good morning to you as well. Thank you for hopping on. But more importantly, thank you, John from Suco Financial, for being a part of our broadcast today. I'm so excited to have you on here.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having me and for the warm welcomes back to the Chamber. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to share, a little bit about myself and some of the ways I partner with the folks in the community in order to help them.
Well, that is so terrific. And John, I have had the pleasure of actually getting to meet you in person. I know some people likely have not had this opportunity. And so this broadcast is really for them to see who you are more than just your company and brand. We're going to be talking about what you do for a living and why that's so important. But let's just go ahead and deep dive in and tell them a little bit more about who is John.
Yeah, absolutely. I thank you again, John Sukhavati. Here local in Westminster, Colorado. Founding advisor of Suco Financial Group here in town. Was a member of the chamber here years ago, and have been fortunate enough, I guess, to make those reconnect with some people and join back up. I've been in Colorado here for the last 7 years. In the financial industry, where I've been able to help some different folks, individuals, small businesses, with their financial planning and investment management. Our philosophy is really plan, grow, ensure to protect. And so I have a passion for that, and lucky enough to put some roots down in Colorado. Love the outdoors. Met my wife here, and we recently had a little guy around Christmas time. So I look forward to, continuing to grow in the area and build my family.
That is awesome. Well, welcome, of course, to Colorful Colorado, and thank you for coming back on board with our organization. We are always excited to see familiar faces kind of rejoin our fold. But more importantly, congratulations on your newborn little one this past December. For any of you parents that are tuned into the broadcast, give us a congratulatory note or share with us, or you a dad in the crowd. We want to know. But congrats on your little one. Do they have a name? Can we share that?
Yes, his name's Stetson Sukhavati. So
oh my gosh.
kind of like the cowboy hat.
Yeah, I love that. That's so fun. That is awesome. And so you are from Nebraska originally. You're a transplant here. So are you a big Huskers fan? Or
Go Big Red, absolutely.
Okay.
And I do need to add this. I've been fortunate enough, I guess. This is the first year I was able to snag some season tickets. I had to wait 10 years on the waiting list. So there's quite the rivalry, between Colorado and Nebraska. I've always enjoyed that, and visiting with the folks in the area about it. So some of the greatest fans in college football, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that the wait list, well, I actually can believe the wait list is that long. And Nebraska is in the Big 12 still, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they moved recently to the Big 10, so a little bit further away.
Okay.
Yeah, not in the same conference, but played each other here recently. So
okay, yeah. So my background, I came directly from Oklahoma to here 4.5 years ago. So I remember things would get heated up whenever we brought up the discussion about Nebraska and everything. It's always so fun to see kind of this jovial relationship around sports and the camaraderie that it brings and everything. But
absolutely.
You touched on a wonderful item. You moved here, you moved to Colorado, you love the outdoors, and you love helping people in the sphere of the work that you're doing and everything. Before I move forward into your work history, is this your first newborn that you've had?
This is our first child. Yeah, it's been a ride. It's we were lucky to make it, I guess, through the pandemic. My wife and I, being newly married, to survive that challenge, in itself, and kind of being cooped up together, both working from home and then adding a child to the mix. Certainly been an experience, but it's allowed us to grow, and opportunities and different perspectives have come out of that, which have, given way to other successes.
I mean, I don't know how people did it during COVID, honestly, because I have seen families that had to, they were going into labor or had to go to doctor appointments. You couldn't take the other person with you. And you're like, this is supposed to be a team effort. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm going here on my own.
Sure. Well, it's important, to surround yourself with a supportive team, and people that you can have conversations with and be able to express yourself to be able to get that support back.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for sharing a little bit more into your personal life. Parker is saying that they are open. Oh, this is awesome. So Carrabba's is open for lunch. For those of you that are like me and you're just foodies, they're open for lunch on Fridays through Sunday and for any private groups. Okay, so that's awesome. That's exciting. Okay, let's move on in. Suco Financial, what is up with this name? It sounds super crazy when I say Suco. So what is the origin behind that? How did it, is it franchise? Did you individually start it up, or what does that all look like?
That's actually just the first four letters of my last name. I think kind of growing up, it was just complicated for a lot of people to say, or they weren't sure the second syllables there. So they just got pegged as Suco. It stuck, and it's something, that when you brand yourself and you want to carry and represent yourself in such a way, I felt like that was important, to lead with that and who I am, who I represent, and go with that rather than I guess something just kind of out there more catchy or gets more hits on the internet. So
yeah, it's definitely more unique for sure. And I share that my last name is significantly longer. I go by Abdel, but it's because the rest of them get smushed together either which way. So I can totally relate.
Sure.
You've been in the industry for a little bit, or you've had experience in financial, kind of financial advising and planning. How long has that been going on?
Yeah, no, good question. And I appreciate that. I've been in the industry since 2014. I was originally recruited by a family friend that was an existing advisor with Edward Jones, and so I was lucky to join the industry with them. They certainly have the best training out there, and made a lot of connections, learned a lot of resources and partners. From there in 2017, I was fortunate to advance my career there to Transamerica as a wholesaler, which put me in a position to learn some different products, services, and tools to be able to provide. And then here recently through the pandemic and some family changes, opportunities arose where, loved ones, friends, they had questions financially. And it was a point where instead of being more of a consultant role and trying to provide solutions for, people I didn't necessarily interact with on a daily basis, an opportunity with Parkland and Fidelity, to be an independent advisor and truly get back to the individuals in my daily life and try and help them more.
Yes. And I think all of those kind of were the stepping stones to where you are today, and allowed you to kind of use I want to say, really develop yourself into this expert that you are. And those are two amazing companies. I've worked with some great people through them, but they have some pretty robust trainings, and it's a really great deep dive into understanding that industry more. And so you're bringing in a pretty unique perspective in that. So what types of services, and before I ask this question, I see Lucy on here, so thank you for hopping on, Lucy. I also see Jerry DiGillo. Thank you also for tuning into the broadcast with us. We have John from Suco Financial, who's sharing a little bit more about himself and, of course, his company and how they support businesses in our community. So what are those services that you do provide to those that may be interested in learning more?
Yeah, absolutely. To kind of, I guess, go back to our philosophy, plan, grow, ensure to protect, and to touch on that, we work with individuals to try and plan, for retirement, to save for college, plan on, how we're going to pay for taxes or handle taxes. So we work a lot, with investment accounts, individuals that are looking for different resources to utilize, for different growing families. I can tell you, getting married and having a child here within the past 2 years, there's a lot of things to be thinking about there, right? There's health savings accounts, life insurance, that's part of the Protect plan there. So it's I guess a lot of different products, tools, and services. For more information, there's detailed list on my website, www.sucofinancial.com. But really planning with individuals, what's out there, what to expect with resources. We certainly want to grow in our education and accumulation of assets, and then protect what matters most to us, be that, our family or income, whatever it may be.
Yeah. And so from the lens of small business, because we help a lot of small businesses in our community, when we're looking at Westminster, we're predominantly small businesses that are here. And so for them, what are some of those, and I'm going to quickly kind of go through a few things that come to my mind, and maybe you can expand on it. But when you're thinking of kind of why I would go with a financial advisor, or why you should seek a financial advisor. Do you find that you guys really bridge that gap and help with this huge information overload that might be there, because there's so much that's out there for someone that's not necessarily in the industry?
Yep.
Do you provide that buffer in there to be able to not only save them the time, but also help with digesting that information? And if so, what does that look like?
Absolutely. And that's such a great question, because there's so much information out there. It's hard to know what pertains to us, honestly. And so it's there working with my clients, and then also there as a resource for individuals that maybe aren't, signed up or working with me already. I guess it's to go back, or I'm sorry, could you ask that again?
Yeah. So I'm assuming, because there's a lot of information that's out there, right? So when
So working through the process, it's really important to have that zest to get to know the individual and what's important to them, right? Once we're able to define, what makes an individual tick or what their goals may be, we can start to, tailor different strategies that might pertain to them, and especially small business owners. There's advantageous ways that you can save for yourself, for your retirement, provide plans for your employees as well. And then a lot of times small business owners might have their finances mixed in, with the business, and it's important to kind of plan and protect yourself in other ways as well. So it's really, getting to know the individual and what they want their personal life or their business to look like, and working through things together that, might be relevant or may not, but we definitely want to work through the resources together, because decisions have ramifications, and we don't want to be scared of those. We want to tackle those head on.
Well, and you gave me a really great secondary point that leads me to this next option, right? And so you touched on this and I've summarized it as helping to mitigate risk in investment, because you're talking about, like, a lot of small businesses, it's their own individual capital, it's credit card, it's funds that you're getting from, your family, your friends. Those are the ways that you are investing in your business. So there's a lot of risk, not only for yourself personally, but for those in your personal network. And so there's stress that comes along with it, because what if you fail and you can't, perform, and what are the ways that you can support that? So I do see a question that's already hopped on here, which is going to pause my, reasons for you to seek a financial advisor. I'll come back to those touching points, but I want to pull up this question that comes to us from Brian Head. It's a lengthier one, so I'm posting it on here so that you can have a chance to read it, and then I will read it to summarize and see what answer you can provide for us. Brian is sharing that with so many people that are transitioning from jobs or starting new ones right out of COVID, what advice would you, John, give for those people dealing with old employer-provided 401k accounts? So these are accounts that they may have had from jobs that they've left, or maybe jobs that they are no longer with.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Brian. I guess kind of a starting point, it's hard to know, what's going to be best for each individual out there. There's, typically 4 options that you can take with those old accounts, and I'd love to talk to anybody about those. But the main thing is making sure that your alignment of your risk, your goals, and everything matches your investments, right? And so one thing that I've been able to provide for clients and just anybody as a general resource is on our website. You can go there and see what your risk score is, and you can see what that is for an individual. We can apply that to a portfolio, or you can apply that to your current investment in your old 401k. And I bring that up because once you're able to identify what your risk score is, you can align your investments with that so that you have reasonable expectations on what to expect, when things aren't so good, but then also when they are, right? To try and buffer some of that risk. With that, then, to make sure that you have it aligned, because again, your risk and your competence are not based on age. And typically in those old employer 401ks, if you were born between X date and Y date, they're going to put you in this fund. But that might not help people meet their goals, or that might be too risky for them if maybe they did just leave a job or they've transitioned out because of retirement. I need to reassess some of those different goals or what the funds are for.
Yeah, that's a great. Thank you so much for that answer and for that question, Brian. Very time sensitive, especially right now as people are getting back into the swing of work or if they've had to transition. So appreciate both of you, both for the question and of course that answer. Keep them coming. If you have something that comes to mind, like Brian just said, go ahead and type that in. Or if you think of a comment or question, let us know, and we will continue on with kind of what those reasons are for people that would seek out a financial advisor, especially for business. Too many choices. I feel like this is one of those, it coincides or correlates a little bit with kind of the information overload. But I believe that there is somewhere around the lines of 10,000 different types of mutual funds and exchange funds for investors to pick from. Is that accurate?
It is. There's a lot out there, and that's one of the reasons I've picked the partners why I did. With Parkland Securities, ultimately they're a good fit for me and my clients. They're Midwest based out of Ann Arbor. They really take the time and to give me and my clients the attention that we deserve. And then our custodian being Fidelity, they with so many different products out there, like you mentioned, right? They've been able to provide insight, and knowledge into a ton of different areas, so that we're not spending that time wading through 10,000 different funds, right? We're trying to find what's most appropriate and suitable for our situation, and rely on some of our partners for that knowledge as well.
Yeah. And so I'm going to deep dive a little bit more to see if you have a niche that you focus on, or if you kind of are more general in the field that you're in. And when I ask this, I'm going to equate it more to like, if we think of a general doctor that you go to, right? So they kind of do a little bit of everything to service someone who's feeling unwell. But if you are experiencing, something in your nervous system or something with your neuros, they might send you over to more of a specialist that's a neurologist to do that. So if I use that similarly into your line of work, I'm sure there are financial advisors that and maybe fall into this where you kind of help a little bit of everything, but then there may be others that kind of go a little bit more deeply into maybe supporting during times of transitions like this COVID, or when a business is selling. Do you focus on something very specific like that, or do you try and keep it broadly?
I try to position myself as a resource, for everybody, right? And that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring the different tools, and services that I've been able to accumulate over the years, and kind of package that in a digestible way, right? I guess it's really. Could you ask that one again?
Yeah,
Sorry,
I know. It's like an interview question that I have over here. Is there a niche that you're trying to hone down on, or do you focus on specifically? So are you working?
I guess So to look at that a different way, I think a lot of the people that I partner with, right, when you kind of look at it as a demographic, a lot of them are, healthcare professionals, or educators, and part of that might go back to a little bit of my family. My mother's in occupational therapy, my wife's an RN, a nurse, and so I think just working with people that are compassionate, and they take care of us and educate us, and so I want to make sure that they're able to understand things that they're positioned with as well. And a lot of times, when you work for like a healthcare system, or there's state benefits, like para, it can be pretty complicated. And so it's, really, I guess you try to use what you're good at and specialize in, and it just kind of unfolds from there, being able to help individuals. But, again, I hate to limit myself, to anybody, but it's a lot of people growing families or transitioning, with work.
Absolutely. And we have one of our Adams County elected officials, Lisa Culpepper. Thank you so much for hopping on here, Lisa. Lisa quickly typed in a question. That's self-directed IRAs. Is this something that you also are either familiar with, maybe see a lot of? And before you answer this question, if you can give like a really small sentence about what they are for those that are tuned in that may not know.
Yeah, no, good question. So we do work with self-directed IRAs. And what an IRA is, an individual retirement account. And when you think about that, a 401k, 403b, 401a, these are group plans that a provider has set up for their employees to be able to invest into. A lot of times they may be a little bit more limited on the investment options when we talk about like a target date, right? And maybe that might be appropriate, for me, being more aggressive, but not, Grandma Betty who may not be and somehow got in there, right? So taking those funds or that investment and being able to put it into an individual account, which again, once we're in maybe a family of funds that we're confident in, we can take and build out another portfolio there that's tailored to us more, right? So we do have a couple different ways to work together. There's more the brokerage IRA side, which is more self-directed, which more engaging in the client's behalf, right? We're going to work through some things and make some decisions together, and then also have my partners, with like Fidelity and some different managed platforms where it's a little bit easier to set like an objective and continue to work towards that with some professional managers on the fund.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for giving that answer and for thoroughly explaining it for anyone that is out there and was kind of curious and saw that question. Again, thank you,
Sure.
Lisa, for asking it. And for anyone that's interested in direct questions related to any of the material that John has shared today, or just wanting to connect with him or his or Beth's team, feel free to give them a call. Their number has also been included for you in the comment section of this broadcast that you can reference at any point in time. So even if we're no longer live, you can always find this. And of course, you can find it on our website since he is an active partner of our organization. John, we are almost to the 30-minute mark, believe it or not. And I know I didn't get a chance to go into a whole lot of the questions that I was going to ask. So I'll ask one thing, and that's, if people are apprehensive or if they don't want to connect with you because your industry has a huge amount of 6 out of 10 people say that they have not met with a financial advisor.
Mhm.
So when you're looking at small business and we've polled them, that is the percentage. And that's a pretty huge percentage that hasn't. What would you say to that? I mean, what would you say to get people maybe to think about it in a different lens?
Yeah, no, good question. I guess to just kind of put it into perspective, we don't know what we don't know, right? And a lot of times it's more of an apprehension out of fear, or maybe feeling like we haven't made the best decisions, with some of the things that we've done. So what I really tried to do is present things in a more informative manner, and provide the resources where it's not all in your face. You don't have to tell me all of your deepest, darkest secrets, right? But we want to bring things to light and continue to keep you informed with communication, our newsletter, website, timely updates online, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, drop those in there, free shout outs, so that when things come to light, you're not afraid to have those conversations. And, hopefully you're not, I guess I would say continue to learn, keep reading, whether an article out there might be right or wrong, right? It might make you think about things, and you just want to be able to embrace, life and decisions out there. Don't run from them. It's kind of like going to the dentist, right? No, nobody really wants to go, but, a lot of times you go, nothing's wrong, and when you leave, you feel great about it. So it shouldn't cost you anything to sit down with an advisor or a financial professional and pick their brain, ask the difficult questions and try to build that rapport with someone you can trust.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, John. And I think that's a great note for kind of us to start wrapping up. Find them on all things social, especially Facebook, like their page, connect with John, their email or their website, their phone number, and of course, their Facebook has been included in the comment section of this broadcast for you. I see you, Claudia. Thank you for tuning into the broadcast and giving us a quick thumbs up. If you end up watching this and we are no longer live, give us that hashtag replay so we know that you tuned in. Maybe you watch this later on and a question came to mind or you mulled it over and you thought of a comment. You can always still type it onto this video. We get notified. We turn around and get that over to our expert, our speaker that's been on here with us, so that he can get us an answer and we can post that out for you guys to be aware of. Of course, if this is your very first time on our page, we hope to see you coming back to us in the future. And I will end and say that we will be back on here on Friday to give you some updates related to our organization, upcoming programs, upcoming events, opportunities, save the dates, all that great stuff. We do that one time a month. So do not miss out on Friday whenever we come back on here for that. But John, I appreciate you being on here with me, for sharing a little bit more about yourself, your background, the exciting news about being a first-time father to this newborn baby this past December. Hopefully you'll be able to bring them out to one of our events that's coming up. And I cannot wait to continue to build on our relationship. So appreciate all that you do.
I appreciate the time, and thank